Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Since I spent about 20 minutes off and on back and forth texting a guy who's telling me his whole financial situation and how he lost in court and how he wants 2 free hours of consults and try and work out a payment afterward, and I should totally trust him that he wouldn't rip me off like thousands of other people have. And since I gave him a couple of answers about options when there's ruling, I'll just when there's a judgment ruling or whatever. For those who out there who don't know, I'm going to go ahead and do this here also. When a hearing is lost, every single state has a rule on a motion for reconsideration or new trial. Most states you got to do it within 10 days. Some states within 30. Some states, like I think Florida, there's no deadline. And Florida has a confusing thing with a motion for reconsideration and a motion for new trial, where they're two separate things. Most states adopt federal Civil Rule 59 and put it in their state civil rules. Some states have a reconsideration with a different numbering system, but every state has some kind of reconsideration. Every state, as far as I know, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, has a, so that's a deadline within 10 days in most states. Reconsideration. Most states have the option to do a motion to set aside or vacate a judgment. Now, in each of these rules, there's a list of different reasons why you can do a reconsideration. Reconsideration in Washington State, we adopt this federal rule, I think, to a T. You can ask the court to reconsider because of a clerical mistake. The judge said you're supposed to have 50-50, and the clerk said the mother has full custody and you get 50%, but it was supposed to be joint custody or something like that. The clerk made an error writing down the order, and the judge signed it. You go back and say, hey, I got the transcript. You said this. There's other reasons like fraud, misrepresentation. The law was not followed. There's about 9 reasons. The last reason is substantial justice has not been done, and almost anybody can say that because most of the time there isn't substantial justice done. Now, it's assumed that the reconsideration will be denied unless, this is where, if you guys just get off your lazy ass, a lot of you, most of you listen to what I'm saying, you go look the stuff up when I say it, but there's a whole bunch of you out there just lazy. Go look up, just Google, if you're in Georgia, civil rule, motion for reconsideration. Boom, there it is right in front of you. Don't just watch my video and say, oh, this guy James said this. I tell people stuff so that you can go look it up yourself. If you don't like doing that, you will get your ass handed to you. Just like anything else when I talk about. If you don't want to grow some balls, you will get your ass handed to you. If what I'm saying hurts your feelings, it will really hurt your feelings when a judge tells you you're a mentally ill sociopath, child abusing, domestic violence perpetrating child molester when you're not. That'll really hurt your feelings. So when I talk about something like you need to get off your lazy ass, you need to be proactive, you need to do stuff on your case. If you don't like that or don't want to listen, when it's time for you to actually go to court and do stuff you need to do, you will get your ass handed to you. That's why I don't have time for people to whine, cry, and give excuses why they want to be a lazy bum, why they want to be a bitch and just sit in their recliner and watch Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football and Friday college review night on ESPN and college football all Saturday and pro football all Sunday. It's too inconvenient for them to have to fight for their kids. Bitch, you made those kids. Go fight for them. The end. If you don't like that, go somewhere else. Go pay Judge Anthony $750 to rip you off because you feel like he really cares because he talks all this narcissist, this and that. He doesn't give a shit about you. He didn't give a shit for 20 years when he was attorney. He didn't give a shit for 5 years as a judge. And after he committed adultery and got divorced and married a rich woman and is living in a mansion, just look at the background in some of his videos. He doesn't give a shit about you now. He loves your $750 an hour though. And I'm up here telling you, think about it. I'm up here. I got custody of my daughter. I had her. I raised her. She turned out to be a decent human. She's 23 now. And she's had a job at the beginning of COVID and through COVID. And there's a lot of grown-ups who were way older than her that lost businesses and stuff. So she's done all right. But I'm done. I won in court. I could go off and get a paralegal job at a law firm and not be as stressed out having to pull teeth to get people to grow some balls to fight for their own kid. I care more about your kids than most of you out there watching my videos. And then I got haters in the comments. And then I got dudes saying, oh, you should do this for free. Because we're suffering. I don't know you, bitch. But if the kids are involved, I want to help change America and help people fight for kids. And if every dad did what I'm talking about, half the dads out there would get custody or 50-50, and a whole bunch more would get closer to that. And we'd flip this country upside down. But bitches want to argue with me that I don't know what I'm talking about. After I won in court, I'm a warehouse worker who flunked out of college. I did go back to school after this, but I already learned how to fight. So it's kind of like my dad taught me how to work on cars, and then I became a mechanic, or I went to some certification school. Or let's say I'm Japanese and I grew up in an English speaking home, but they also speak Japanese. And I already know Japanese, and I go get a degree in Japanese. That doesn't mean shit. So me going back to school to get a bachelor's degree in law and justice from Central Washington University in the pre-law track doesn't mean shit. I actually did this stuff. And I had a couple of professors who were idiots who didn't really understand stuff because they didn't really have experience. They read some books and memorized some stuff, and they were regurgitating it to people. In any case, if you don't trust that I know what I'm talking about after I show you my winning orders and I tell you the reality of it, then go somewhere else. This is not a place for whining, crying little babies. Like the one I mentioned earlier. The guy was crying because he said he can't afford a $40 consult with me. But then at the end of us going back and forth, like I answered him quickly here and quickly there. I was in the middle of doing nothing. So he was broke down and out. I felt compassion on him and talked to him. But every time I talk to somebody like that, then I end up just wasting my time. And it's a welfare bum mentality little bitch who feels sorry for himself and wants somebody to give him a handout. And then after he told me he can't even scrounge up $40 in 3 weeks or so, like he could schedule an appointment with me down the road and save $1 a day. You can go around town and pick up some coins and get $40 to do a 30-minute consult with me. And he didn't even know about reconsideration or motions to vacate or an appeal. He had no idea. Meaning he hasn't got off his ass since I assumed he got his butt kicked because he said he was past the deadline to do that. So he's at least a month out. He didn't even call for help until way down the road. He's a lazy, shiftless bum. See, I tell you guys this kind of stuff because if you're telling me some stupid ass bullcrap and whining, crying, bitch made excuse, I've done this for 24 years. I already see where it's going. So I nip it off. I cut it off at the pass and end it before we even get started and you drain me of my time. And then he wanted 2 hours and I was supposed to trust him to pay me later when he can. F that. You're lucky I'm even here. You're lucky I have $50,000 worth of free videos on YouTube. And that's not a brag, that's reality. Look at how many fathers' rights groups and people are out there helping dads, about like 4 or 5. And some of them are 5 to 10 times as much as me. And they don't even show you that they won in court. And yet you trust them because they wear a suit and tie. I'm up here giving you as much information as I can. I don't got time to sit down and make a full-length video on a lot of stuff and then edit it, make it all clean, and add my intro like I have on my main video. As soon as I come up with a topic, I put it on here. And if you're too much of a dumbass airhead, they're like, oh, he's sitting in his living room or he's sitting in his car. If I'm giving you golden information that helps you win, why do you care whether I have a studio with a fancy background behind me? So you have a right to do reconsideration. Then there's a motion to vacate. That's a million times harder than reconsideration because if you get past the deadline, you can do a motion to set aside. Or you got to prove some kind of fraud. Most states it's Civil Rule 60. You got 59. Civil Rule 59 is reconsideration. Civil Rule 60 is motion to vacate or set aside the judgment. Usually there has to be some crazy outrageous fraud or paternity fraud or fake this and that. It's got to be tangible. But you can really do a motion to vacate a default if you lost by default. That would be my first option. And a lot of you guys, your attorneys didn't even tell you this stuff, and I'm doing it for free. See, I give you thousands of dollars worth of information for free, and you're still bitching and complaining. And then, of course, you can appeal. That's its own monster. I got a appellate packet in my store. I got reconsideration and vacate packets in my store. And